Hello, welcome to my bookshelf. Today I wanted to show you the 6 books that I plan on reading in the month of March. I'm hoping that making a video will actually help me to keep my resolutions, so let's get started. The first book that I want to read in the month of March is Insurgent by Veronica Roth. I'm holding up Divergent because I have an audiobook version of Insurgent, so that's in my car right now. I read Divergent about 2 years ago, and I really did like it. It wasn't my favorite, but I did really enjoy the story. But I was kind of in a reading slump after that, so I never picked up Insurgent. So I wanted to change that and get on the bandwagon, I guess, even if it is a little late. Okay, so the next book that I want to read in March is Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. Now, this is the memoir of the psychiatrist, Viktor Frankl, and I guess it's part memoir and part psychology book. So Viktor Frankl came up with this logotherapy, which he developed during his time in the concentration camps during World War II. And basically what he discovered is that we can't avoid suffering in our lives, but we can choose how we cope with it. And the best way to do that, and from his point of view, is to find meaning in the suffering and to move forward. And so this book talks about his experience in the camps and how he developed this logotherapy. I just started it, and it's excellent so far. It's kind of difficult to read the first part because obviously the concentration camps were terrible, but I think that he does a good job not dwelling too much on the horrors, but mainly trying to get his logotherapy concepts across. So it's a very good book so far, and it's very short, so I'm hoping that I can read it this month. Okay, so the next book that I want to read in the month of March is Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoyvsky. And this is a unique story because it's a murder story told by the perspective of the murderer. So we get to see what is going on in his mind as he's committing the crime, before he even commits the crime, what happens afterwards. And so it's a really interesting kind of detective book, but from the bad guy's perspective. So this is a really interestingly written book, and when my cousin described this book to me, I just instantly knew that I had to read it. I like reading about kind of weird, unusual things, and I love psychology, and so I like being able to get into people's minds, even if they're kind of deranged. I think that it's interesting to learn more about people and why they do what they do. So I'm really excited to read this book, and I hope I can get to it this month. Okay, so the next book that I want to read in the month of March is The Happiness Project by Gretchen Rubin. And this is an interesting book because Gretchen goes through all her thought processes and everything she goes through to come up with this happiness project, and then what it was like to actually carry it out for an entire year. So this is broken up into each month, and each month has its own very specific topic that she's trying to tackle. So January is to boost energy, and so that's like, exercising and organizing, things like that. February is looking at love and, trying to stop nagging her husband as much, things like that. And so she uses scientific research that she's done and just some common wisdom as well, and kind of tests it out in her own life. And so this is a really exciting book for me. I'm excited to try to make some changes in my life. I know that there's always things that I could do to make myself happier and to just be more content in my life. So I'm excited to read this book and to hopefully put some of it into practice for myself. So the next book that I want to read in the month of March is Shada by Douglas Adams and turned into a novel by Gareth Roberts. If you're not familiar, Douglas Adams was asked to write an episode for Doctor Who. It was never made it into an episode, though, unfortunately, and so Gareth Roberts decided to turn it into a novel after all these years. So that's this story. So obviously this is a Doctor Who story, and so if you're a Doctor Who fan, I highly recommend it. It definitely has the Doctor Who flavor into it, which is why I absolutely love this book so far. I just started it. But it's the quirky fun that I absolutely love from both the Doctor and Douglas Adams. So this is so amazing. I'm so excited to finally read this book. I got it for Christmas, so I'm excited to actually finish it now. Okay, and so the last book that I'm hoping to read in the month of March is Scarlet by Marissa Meyer. This is the second book in the Lunar Chronicles. I recently finished Cinder, and I recently put up a review for that if you're interested. But yeah, so I'm continuing the series, and I'm excited to see what happens next. I'm hoping the writing gets a little better. I had some issues with it, like I mentioned in my review, but overall, I think the plot was really good, and I do like how she does the fairy tale retellings in a futuristic world. So I'm excited to continue in this series. Okay, so those are the books that I'm hoping to read in March. I hope I can actually keep up with my list. It's kind of ambitious for me. I usually read like maybe 3 or 4 books a month, but I do have smaller books and easier reads in this pile, so I'm hoping that it'll go quickly. Okay, so that was my TBR for March. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye!